What is up, everyone? Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. I know Thanksgiving's a weird holiday for a lot of people, but we're going to enjoy some football tomorrow, some football and some good food, hopefully. We're going to hang out here for a little bit. We're not going to it's not a normal week, so I can't have a normal week of content for you guys. So we're going to hang out for a little bit. I'm going to read the player news from Wednesday's practice reports and hopefully get you guys all caught up. And if you guys do have questions, please get them into the comments. I will answer them in just a little bit. I'm just going to start reading the player news here. We have Broncos cornerback Patrick Surtain limited today in practice, so that's a good sign for him to maybe be back maybe this weekend, maybe next weekend. I would bet on week 14. CJ Stroud fully practicing with that concussion. I'm expecting him to make his reappearance here in week 13. Good news for J.K. Dobbins with the foot injury. He has a chance to return this year. They had a lot of negativity around this when the injury originally happened, but saying he has a chance to return, I don't know what that means. Does that mean, playoffs? Does that mean end of December? Who knows? I guess we'll find out more along the way. We have Jaden Daniels limited in practice with that left elbow injury. He's not playing in week 13. I think week 14, though, it could be a real possibility to get our QB1 back here. Alvin Kamara does not practice today. We're not expecting him to suit up for week 13. So Devin Neal, if your waivers run tonight, I think Devin Neal is probably the top priority waiver wire add of week 13. Darren Waller limited today with that pec injury. Good to see him back in action. I don't know if he's going to play, but we'll continue to watch his reports throughout the week. Terry McLaurin limited in practice today. He's on track to playing finally. Trey Benson limited in practice as well. I want to see him get a full practice in this week. And just with Thanksgiving being on Thursday, I don't know how serious practice reports are going to be tomorrow from these teams. I would imagine there's some kind of glorified walkthrough in the morning, and then they let the guys leave if they're not playing a game. So we'll find out more information, I think, for the most part on Friday. Emari Demercado didn't practice as well for the Arizona Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. did practice, though, so that's a good sign that he might be available here, officially limited with that appendix injury surgery. Baker Mayfield not practicing. I'm not expecting to see him this weekend. We'll probably see Teddy Bridgewater. And then we do get a full Bucky Irving practice today, so that's good news there. Titans Alec Ayomaner limited in practice. We're not really using him for fantasy, though. Chris Olave was limited with the back injury. He left practice early, it says. So that's one to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the week here. Can he practice tomorrow in a limited capacity? Maybe get a full in on Friday. We'll watch for Olave the next couple days. No Justice Hill tomorrow night. So if you need a deep flyer, Keaton Mitchell could be interesting here against that Cincinnati Bengals defense. Rashad Bateman not on the injury report for tomorrow night, so he's on track to playing. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen him. Alrighty, I mentioned this last night when we were talking about Omarion Hampton, Kamani Vidal. We have the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, saying, I'm sure you'll see some sort of 1-2 punch out there between the two backs. So I have a modest ranking on Hampton, I think, this week. I think he's like RB25 or something like that. Vidal will still be involved, but he's not a starting fantasy asset this week. And I see everybody in the chat there. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to James, by the way. I see Jason in here as well. We got, I don't know what Mr. Guy's Eating Doors here, but I appreciate you commenting. And then Dynasty is My Life. I see you in there as well. I'm going to get to your comments and concerns shortly. I'm just going to keep reading these player news blurbs and make sure we cover everything before we get into it. We have a news note on Isaac Tesla listed questionable for tomorrow. We don't really care about him for fantasy. Ashton Genty was practicing today with an ankle. Center Frank Ragnow unretires for the Lions, so that's interesting. DK Metcalf does not practice today. That's one to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers also does not practice, so maybe this is just the Wednesday day off kind of thing where these guys are just basically just doing mental stuff and getting treatment and things like that. They'll probably practice over the next couple days. I have Devonta Smith here, shoulder, chest, illness. Doesn't practice again on Wednesday. So that's one to definitely keep an eye on. They play on Friday here. So we might have to, hopefully we get some news on Devonta Smith tomorrow during the day. I'm seeing no Dalton Kincaid at practice today. Still expecting him to miss at least one more game here. Jaden Reed officially listed out for tomorrow. So Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, those guys can be in your fantasy lineups. And then Josh Jacobs not on the injury report. So I'm playing Jacobs where I have him. Matthew Golden is listed as questionable. We'll see if he can play in this one. JJ McCarthy was limited today. So that's something to keep an eye on in case he's able to clear the protocol. But I'm thinking it's going to be Max Brosmer starting his first career game. Full practice for Jackson Dart. He's on his way to coming back. Let me see what else we got. Drake London's doubtful for week 13. I just updated my rankings today, and I had him as the top 10 receiver. If he's not playing, you're going to probably try and find a way to get Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts in your lineups. So that's a big one. Drake London doubtful for week 13, I'm seeing. But that should do it for practice news. Let's happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me on this Wednesday evening. It's not my normal time. I will be on the road here. I'm actually traveling back home tonight. We got some strong wind gusts and a little bit of snow drifts, but we'll be okay. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope you guys all have a lovely Thursday with family and friends tomorrow. Dynasty is my life. Half PPR, 0.5 tight end premium, must win week. We're starting 3, and we have to pick one tight end. Warren versus Houston, Gadsden versus the Chargers, Wandale versus New England, Pittman versus Houston, QJ versus Las Vegas, and Franklin. That is, a must win, man. That's going to be tough. I don't love the matchup for Tyler Warren. I think you could actually play Oronde Gadsden here if you're feeling better about it. The Raiders defense does not scare me. It's a good matchup for Gadsden. But I'm probably going to have Tyler Warren ranked just a little bit ahead. I want to see just how bad the Texans are against tight end. I think they're pretty dang good, though. But Warren's kind of one of those guys that I think can overcome a bad matchup just based on how the Colts scheme him up. And I'm seeing Houston here as the 6th best team against tight ends. They allow about 10 points per game to the tight end position. The Raiders, though, are pretty good, too. The Raiders are actually stronger. So matchup be damned. I think you're going to go with Tyler Warren here as one of the tight ends. And then the other 2 guys, I think we got to stick with Wan'Dale Robinson right now. He's as hot as they come. And he's a good receiver. He's so underrated. I like Wan'Dale quite a bit. So I'm going to go Warren and Wan'Dale. And then for this final piece here, it comes down to, do we want to take a safe play with Michael Pittman Jr., who I know it's a tough matchup against the Houston Texans, which are the 3rd best team against wide receiver points. I still think Pittman's going to be involved, but then you're putting 2 eggs in the Colts basket, which could be frustrating. I think I go Franklin here. The Commanders, the 30th worst team against the opponent wide receivers. I think if I'm ranking these guys, I think I'm going to go Warren, Wan'Dale, and Franklin. I could be convinced to go Pittman, though, but let me know what you think here. And I eat doors. Hopefully you eat something other than doors tomorrow, Mr. Starbeam. And good evening to James. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and subscribing. Alex, good evening. Week 13 team. Let's see what we got. Drake May, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey. We got a lot of rookie running backs here. So I think Henderson's a strong RB2 this week. Harvey, kind of a mid to low end RB2. Wan'Dale, JSN, solid receivers there. McBride, can't complain. And then Jefferson in the flex. We're benching Judkins, Woody, Bucky, Amika, Loveland, Pierce. Good team. Very, very good team. 9-3. I'm not sure if we're, trying to get number 1 seed here. I think for me, man, I kind of want to find a way to get Judkins in my lineup just because he is the engine of that offense. And right now, Justin Jefferson just does not, that whole Vikings offense just does not do it for me. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to pull Justin Jefferson from this lineup and play Quinshon Judkins. I think Woody Marks could have a nice game against the Colts, but I'm not too afraid of the 49ers defense. The 49ers are middle of the road against opponent running backs. They've allowed over 1,000 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns on the season, and 3 receiving. So I think just with a rookie quarterback, they're going to make sure Judkins gets the ball 20 times. So I do feel safer with him. Bucky Irving, I agree with putting him on the bench. I want to see what he looks like in his first game back. Amika just has not been all that hot lately. They get the Arizona Cardinals, though. That is a matchup that I do like for Tampa Bay, but we also have the potential for Teddy Bridgewater. So I think you have it pretty much like this feels good. I'm probably going to play Judkins over Jefferson. But thank you for hanging out with us, Alex. Love or Tila, love been killing me. I think I put Trevor Lawrence higher in my rankings this week. against Tennessee, I mean, we're hopefully getting Brian Thomas Jr. back. We already have, I think Brenton Strange and Jacoby Myers are a huge deal. Just both of those guys on the field. Lawrence has a consistent target. Parker Washington's been playing well. And then if we do get a big threat, like that's what this offense is missing. They're missing Brian Thomas doing vertical things again. I think Trevor Lawrence is what you're looking for against the Tennessee Titans. Let me look and see here. I have Lawrence as my QB 13 on the week, and I have Jordan Love QB 14. So even if Love goes out and throws 2 touchdowns and 250 yards and gets like 18 points, I still think Trevor Lawrence has a really good opportunity here to put up 20 plus points against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are allowing 17.5 points per game right now. Funny enough, the Lions are just basically 18 points per game. So it's a similar matchup, but I'm going to lean Trevor Lawrence here in this question. That's what it seems like. They activated him right away Wednesday morning. The coach is already saying that it's going to be a 1-2 punch with Vidal. I'm leaning towards him being on the strong side of probable. But again, typically when you see a guy get his window activated, you're going to see him practice for a week, miss that first game back, and then play the following weekend. I have Hampton as RB28 right now in my rankings. I might be willing to push him up. I probably need to move Bucky Irving down a little bit. So I could maybe move Hampton up to like my RJ Harvey, Tyrone Tracy tier, which is like RB22. So I'm not super in love with Hampton this week, but I do think he will be involved. And hey, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you guys have a safe, happy full day tomorrow. Tyrone Force, is that Trone Force or Tyrone? I don't know. Better QB play this week, Jackson Dart or Bo Nix. I thought I was going to have Dart higher this week in my rankings, and I got him at 11. Like I have Dart QB 11. It's the Patriots, which is a tough matchup on paper. Bo Nix is my QB 12. And I don't know. Washington Commanders, man, they're giving up 20 points per game to the quarterback position. Bo Nix coming off a bye. Like that feels pretty good to me. Whereas Jackson Dart's going to get the New England Patriots. And the Patriots, despite, on paper being a really good team, they do allow 16.5 points per game to the quarterback position, and Jackson Dart gets there with his legs. So I do feel good about both QBs. I think Bo Nix is safer and has just as much upside. Like they can just come out and throw 3-4 touchdowns. I like what Pat Bryant's doing. Marvin Mims is healthy. And then we obviously like Sutton, Franklin, and a little bit of Evan Ingram. So I'm going to lean Bo Nix, man. I might have to move Nix up a little bit higher in my ranks. Charbonnet, Dortch, BTJ, Monungai, Pierce, half PPR. If Brian Thomas Jr. is out there, I'm going to go with BTJ here. It sounds like Marvin Harrison, he did practice today, so he's on track to playing. If Marvin is not playing, I might be open to Greg Dortch, but they were just being safe. Gave him an extra week off here to get practicing. I still like Alec Pierce, but again, it's a tough matchup against the Texans. I'm looking at BTJ and Dortch. I do think Monungai is interesting because he kind of took over the backfield last weekend with that DeAndre Swift fumble. But Philly defense, they're middle of the road against running backs. It's not a dynamite smash spot for Monungai, so I'm probably going to shy away there. And same thing with kind of Charbonnet going up against the Minnesota Vikings. That could easily be a touchdown, but we're starting to see Kenneth Walker take a little bit more snaps and just a little bit more opportunities going his way. So I'm thinking it's BTJ or Dortch. They should pick the big stink. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here, Plubis. We need 2 receivers and a flex. PPR, you got Nico, Olave, Devonta, Debo, and then Warren Gainwell McLaurin if he plays. I'm probably not going to play McLaurin even if he does play. I want to see what he looks like in his first game back. He's gotten hurt twice with this quad injury already, so I'm going to rule him out. I would much rather play Debo over Terry McLaurin, who's looked good all year. But we need 2 receivers and a flex. I think I'm starting Nico Collins for sure. And that's, despite CJ Stroud coming back in his first game. That's despite Sauce Gardner potential matchups here. Nico Collins is still, he's my number 9 receiver this week in the rankings. And then I do have Olave ranked wide receiver 12 at Miami. Like we still can't really name Miami cornerback. So I think Olave is going to be a busy guy. Now, he did leave practice early today with a back thing, so we have to monitor that throughout the week. And Devonta Smith has not practiced this week, so that might be just ruled out by himself, but we'll watch for that. If I'm ranked, assuming Olave, Devonta, Debo, those guys all play, between those 4 receivers, I would play Nico and Olave, but you might have to just wait and play Debo because I don't know if Olave and Devonta are going to be safe. But I'll rank them again for you: Nico, Olave, Devonta, Debo, McLaurin would be my receiver rankings, and then the one flex: Warren, Gainwell, McLaurin. Man, Kenneth Gainwell's just been catching so many passes lately, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they get Buffalo. Buffalo's really bad against running back. So I'm going to go Nico, Olave, and Jaylen Warren as the 3 options here. Alrighty. I think, and the good news here, Dynasty, is like you have good options here. So I'm not going to lose sleep if we get one of these questions wrong, because I think you've probably experienced it all season. Like, these are not easy to get right every week. I do like Gadsden coming back from a bye, looking fresh. I think Wandale's a must start. And then again, Tyler Warren, like, he's just been so steady all season here in a big game against a division opponent. I would expect him to be good. But if you want to play both tight ends, man, let's play both tight ends. That's cool too. Alrighty, are we trading Swift and Daniel Jones for Bucky and BTJ? Well, thank you for the question. Trade questions are tough because I almost need more context. Like, do you have, like, who's your quarterback other than Daniel Jones? Like, if you have Herbert or I don't know, Trevor Lawrence even maybe right now, Jacoby Brissett, Jackson Dart, like, if you have a top 10 quarterback that you feel good about, then yeah, let's pull this trade and upgrade Swift to Bucky. And then we can, it's a 2 quarterback league. Or the QBs are Lamar and Allen. Yeah, we're doing this deal. Yeah, let's send Daniel Jones. Let's upgrade the flexes here. I think Bucky and BTJ healthy down the stretch. These guys can be solid players for us down the stretch. And you're not going to use Daniel Jones, unless something happens to Lamar and Allen. But I don't like to play scared like that. You'll always be able to find another QB off the waiver wire. So I'm going to go ahead and hit accept on that trade there, Barons. Or B-Rons. Trade Dowdle for T. Henderson. I do have Rico ranked a little bit higher in my rest of season rankings. I think this is more of a preference situation. Dowdle, I feel really good about how the Panthers feel about him, and he's completely just trumped Chuba Hubbard for the last, I don't know, month and a half or so. I have Rico Dowdle as my RB9 the rest of season ranks, and I have Henderson as my RB14. So I view Henderson more as like a high-end RB2. I view Dowdle more as a low-end RB1. I'm probably sticking with Dowdle here, but if this is a preference thing, I think it's okay to go get Henderson if that's what you wish. Caleb or Purdy for this week, we're going to go with Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy traveling to Cleveland. I don't have a ton of faith in that one. Could be a big McCaffrey day. Browns defense is nothing to mess with, so I'm going to stick with Caleb Williams there. And yeah, Lamar Allen, we're going to go with that deal. But I think that's going to do it for tonight, guys. There's going to be no video tomorrow. Again, I'm going to be traveling out of town. I might pop up and do a Friday video just because I'll be traveling back and I don't have to work or anything. So maybe we do a Friday afternoon, evening video and kind of get set again for week 13. We have no teams on bye, so it's going to be a good Sunday weekend of viewing, and we get football on Thursday all day, Friday. Looking forward to it. And I just want to say thank you, guys, hanging out with me on a Wednesday evening before Thanksgiving. I really appreciate everybody, and I hope you guys all have a lovely day tomorrow. Hopefully you guys get the touchdowns you need, get all the food, get all the friends and family, and simply enjoy the day off. So thank you again, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Happy Thanksgiving. Peace.